Hi everybody! That was a horrible accent. The appropriate response to that would have been, Hi Dr. Nick, from everybody who's in the know, but I really botched the accent, so don't feel obligated to respond. I am the Mighty Plantain, and tonight we are checking out Evil Twin Brewing's Even More Jesus. This is an imperial stout that I have high hopes for. Thank you very much, by the way, Tim, for sending this in. Yes, this is an actual beer submission, not just a suggestion, but a submission from a fan of the channel who has actually sent me a beer. Folks, if you've got a beer that you want to see reviewed, hit me up in the comments, the email link down below. Find a way to get it in my hands, especially if it's a home brew, something you brewed yourself. That rambling, let's get on to this awesome beer submission. I suspect awesome. It's an imperial stout, and it comes highly recommended. Now, we're going to tap the top of the can. Somebody else recently asked, why do people tap the top of the can before opening it? Well, I'll tell you. From what I understand, and I could be interpreting this wrong, with any type of carbonated beverage, air bubbles exist in that beverage, and they can settle on the sides of the can, which actually provides a cavitation point, or, for lack of a better word, an attachment point for more air bubbles to form and coalesce around, which is what causes a can of carbonated beverage to explode if opened suddenly. So by tapping the top of the can, we can tap the sides, we can tap the bottom, but the top is more convenient because it's right there by that pop top. By tapping the top of the can, you release a few of those air bubbles, suspend them in the liquid again, and prevent them from forming those cavitation points along the sides of the can, which means that if this has been shaken, stirred, banged around, or otherwise jostled, those cavitation points won't form on the sides of the can. Instead, they'll form in the middle of the can, and you won't get that explosive decompression of the beverage. Now, scientists, if there's any watching, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty much it. So, now that we've got it open, oh, that is thick looking. My God, that even the head is dark. I mean, that beer itself is black as midnight, but that head is dark and brown. I mean, it looks like burnt brown sugar. Wow, man. Wow. And I love and appreciate a dark beer, so I'm really getting some enjoyment out of this just from the looks of it alone, and the fact that it's an imperial stout. That description gets me excited. The look of this beer is getting me even more excited. I mean, look at that. I actually managed to put a good head on that, which has been I'm working on it, but that has been a challenge of mine for a long time. But look at how long that is taking to settle. That's not going down at all. And this is not a Guinness head, where it's very thick and very heavy, but it's also white or very light colored gray. That's a brown head. Like I said, it looks like burnt brown sugar. I'm very excited about this beer, in case you couldn't tell already. Wow. Black as midnight. Black as midnight. There is no light coming through it. As a matter of fact, I see my own reflection in the glass better than I can see any light coming through it. That beer is opaque. It's black. It is black. I think I'm actually getting a bit of chocolate and coffee notes coming through, but maybe very subtly under an overall hoppy bitterness. There's no particular hop notes that are jumping through there, but it's an overall bitterness that's just slightly masking chocolate and coffee notes. The coffee's predominant over the chocolate, but those two things are just barely poking through an overall hoppy bitterness. That is a heavy mouthfeel. Tarry and slightly oily, actually. Not a bad thing. But yeah, very, very heavy mouthfeel. Tarry and oily. In terms of texture. I mean, the flavor is exquisite. Predominantly chocolate with some coffee notes pouring through. The bitterness that I was getting in the aroma from the hops isn't really even a factor in the taste. Maybe a little bit in the aftertaste. I'm getting some piney notes, but yeah, maybe a tad bit of pine poking through in the aftertaste. But that overall hoppy bitterness I was getting in the aroma is not coming through in the taste at all. It's being overwhelmed by the chocolate and coffee notes of the malt. There's a hint of that slightly sour taste that I get from an imperial. Any really high ABV beer, especially something that categorizes itself as an imperial, and more so honestly with the darker beers, there's this sourness, and that's the closest taste I can describe it. I can relate it to as a sourness. You really have to have a couple of imperials for yourself to really know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this, chances are you have. But it's just barely poking through. It's not overwhelming like I get with a lot of imperials. And this comes in at 12% ABV. It is delicious. It's dark. It's rich. It's heavy. It's so good. I'm putting this one at a 4.5 out of 5. The one thing that's keeping me from putting this at a perfect 5 out of 5 is just the fact that there is a slight bit of that sourness, that negative taste of the high ABV that's coming through, and personally I don't care for it. Other people might, but personally for me, the fact that I can taste it at all is turning me off just a little bit. If I didn't taste it, this would be a 5 out of 5, perfect. But just the fact that it's just kind of coming through puts it at a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Some people like it more than I do. Personally, I don't. But other than that one slightly negative drawback for me, this is a great beer. This is great. You should check it out for yourself. I want to make sure that you hit me up down below in the comments, the email link. Let me know what you think about this beer. I will also throw a user poll up here. You can rate it quickly 1 through 5. It's only whole number ratings there. YouTube gives me 5 options, so I gotta go 1 through 5. I can't give it the half options, the 0.5s that I do. Want to know what you think. I'm really enjoying this, and I wish it was available around here because I would buy this again. No, I wouldn't buy this again. I would buy this repeatedly because guess what? Somebody else bought this one for me. Thanks again, Tim. You picked out a great beer. I mean, look at the way that's clinging to the glass and the fact that it's still really brown when it does cling. That is delicious beer. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Till next time, cheers. Now, a little while back, we did a bit of a comparison with the Not Your Father's Hard Root Beer review.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for the beer, man. So, highly recommended by you. The Extreme Beer Fest this weekend. We'll be able to get a hold of, I believe it's the American